Ideas are a dime a dozen. People that implement them are priceless. Those are the words of Mary Kay Ash, who is so right in stating that, because what is an idea if there's nobody to push it forward and to bring it to reality? Welcome to the second video, which is the ideation video. You've definitely watched the introduction and gotten a feel of what this program is really all about. But now the focus is on helping you, perhaps you don't have an idea, to find something or to formulate an idea that could help you to solve a problem where you are today. Or maybe you do have a business running, and this video will really help you to reinvent and possibly relook at how you're solving the need or the problem that you're trying to meet today. What is ideation? Ideation is not just a linear process, it is a multi-dimensional thing that you look at, and you look at various aspects and different concepts and philosophies to possibly arrive to a concept. But ideation itself is a broad narrative in its nature. But to focus on one effective way to ideate, it is the design thinking, which was written by David Kelly in 1991. But there are 5 aspects to design thinking that I believe are important to help you possibly come up with the next big thing. The first point is sympathize. So a lot of the times you have to almost get into other people's shoes or almost walk their path, trying to understand life from their perspective. What is it like being in that situation? For example, if you hate being in long queues, you will certainly know what that feels like. And coming up with a solution where perhaps you create an app that allows you to pre-order your food and not have to wait in a long queue, that is solving a problem that you've possibly faced. But a lot of the times when you're outside from the problem that people are facing and you're possibly intervening from the outside, it can be easy. It's very easy to be biased. Hence, you need to forget about your experiences and focus on the experiences of the people that you're trying to solve and their problems. That will help you. The second step is define. A lot of the times people try and solve a problem, but they're not getting to the root cause of the problem, but merely dealing with symptoms. And that can be frustrating because your problem is not going to be solved. So then how do you deal with the root cause? Well, it's simple. You just got to ask yourself a couple of why questions. So for instance, if you realize that the price of bread in your neighborhood is really high, or in your country is really high, the big question will be ask yourself, why is it high? And you might realize that it's high because a lot of the ingredients that a lot of bakeries are using are imported from different parts of the world, hence the hike in prices. So the solution to that would be to start producing these ingredients locally. And that's how you can solve that problem. So you have to have clarity on what it is that is causing the problem. What is the root cause? That is how you define it. The third step is ideate. How then do you come up with an idea? Maybe you by yourself. The focus is to just get as many ideas out as possible without criticizing yourself. Or if you're struggling to come up with ideas, get your friends together collectively and get some ideas down. And the whole point of the exercise is to help you come up with as many ideas as you can, focusing on quantity. And then from there on, you can transition to focusing on the best ideas and trying to find which of those ideas are essentially novel. The most important aspect about ideation is to make sure that it is a new way of thinking about things. It is a new way or a different way of solving that problem. And also making sure that it is relatable to society today. Otherwise, it might be a great idea, but then it has very little relatability to the real world. And the fourth step is prototype. Prototype is essentially about getting almost the first sample out to the market. If you are possibly working on a product, or if it's a service, it's about getting this first service or aspect of your service out to your targeted market. And how you do that is by essentially starting very, very, very small. For example, if you want to develop an app, a lot of the times you have to do a prototype which is a very small version of what the real vision is. This will allow you to save time, but also it will allow you to build based on how people respond in the market. The last step is test. It's important that now that you've possibly designed your very first prototype, that you test it, right? It's important that you actually give that solution that your preliminary solution to try and see how the people you're trying to help respond to it. A lot of the times when you do this, you'll find that you have to change your prototype a great deal because there's new learnings that you'll find that you can incorporate back into your main idea or your solution. For example, if you're designing an app and you start running a beta test with different participants, you realize that they will raise certain concerns that will require you to change your initial plan. And that's perfectly okay if it ever happens. Well, there you have it. Those are the 5 steps in design thinking, which have always worked over the years for many people. And I believe they'll do the same just for you too. But what does it help? A perfect example of a good product that was absorbed well in the market, in the African context, is the hippo roller. You remember a lot of the times a lot of women had to carry heavy buckets on their heads, transporting water from a source to the homes, and that was difficult. But thanks to the hippo roller, even children could go and fetch water in greater quantities. And that is essentially some of the things that you can come up with if you apply this technique. Now, a lot of people believe that creativity is not something that they're born with, but I beg to differ. I believe we are all creative. We are all creatives. It just depends to what extent have we developed our creativity. And as I told you, the best way is possibly to just focus on coming up with new ways of thinking about things and just determining how relatable they are. Just get those ideas out. I can assure you, you will definitely get an idea. There's so many techniques about creativity and so forth, so I'll be addressing that in the next video.